Hello and welcome to ForMorSport, the show where we talk about all things football. I hope that you are all keeping well. Yes, I am smiling today, and there is a very good reason for that. But we are going to get into that later on in the show. As you can clearly see, slightly change of scenery today, but no doubt we're still going to have a great show. So thank you so much for tuning in and joining me on the show. And if you haven't already, hit that thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, as we are small, but we are growing. As you can see, it's only me today. Unfortunately, it's just going to be the Johnny Band, and we're not even live. We've had a few technical issues, and unfortunately, we are not able to have our regular show where we have people coming in and discussing and talking about all things football. It's just not going to happen. We're probably not going to do a live now until next week, Sunday, but we still have loads to talk about. There is loads and loads to talk about. If you haven't already, make sure you go back to episode 14. It's important for you to see episode 14. The reason it's important to see episode 14 is because at the very end of that show, there was a game. We finished our show early on Wednesday evening because Chelsea were hosting Arsenal. It was going to be, in my opinion, I thought it was going to be a battering. The title of that episode was, "Will Chelsea put Arsenal to the sword?" I had absolutely no idea. I wasn't sure. I didn't know what was going to happen. In fact, I was really worried. Turns out, though, that as we all know, football is a very, very funny old game. And just when you think you know, things happen. And then you think, hang on a minute, that wasn't meant to happen. The form says that, Arsenal have been losing games. They've been beaten, by Brighton. They've been beaten by Southampton. They just were not able to even get even 3 points. And then they play Chelsea away. Now, not that I'm a betting man, but come on, be realistic. If you look at that fixture, you're thinking to yourself, yeah, there's a good chance that Chelsea will grind out a result. It ended up being Chelsea 2, Arsenal 4. Yes, 4. How? I don't know. Please, if you watch the game, I'd like your opinion. So make sure you put in the comments what happened in that game. Well, why were Chelsea so bad? Or was it just the fact that Arsenal played amazingly well? Well, I'd like to think it is that. But Nketiah, the forgotten man, and I am guilty of saying that Nketiah is not worthy. He is not Arsenal standard. Put me quiet. He shut me up because he played amazingly well and scored some cracking goals against Chelsea. Opportunist goals, but still, really, he had to be there to get them, and he did. And I'm so, so impressed. And it was amazing. I was like, wow, the race for Champions League. So obviously, as you know, you've got Manchester City, number one, Liverpool just behind them, Chelsea in third place, and technically Chelsea are kind of safe. They're not really going to be caught by anybody else. And then there's that final fourth spot, which is being battled by Arsenal, by Tottenham, and by Manchester United. And obviously teams like Wolves and West Ham are in the wings, but maybe they may not get there now, but they are still trying to get themselves into Europa or the Europa Conference. But still, there's still a lot to play for. So that game, I mean, guys, was that not an absolutely amazing, amazing game? But that wasn't the only game that evening. I'm going to go consult my notes. Everton, they played Leicester. That was a 1-1 draw. Vitally important result for Everton to get an equalising goal there, partly because Burnley are breathing down their necks. And if Burnley catch them, then Everton are in a relegation battle anyway. But the fact that they were able to, gain themselves an equaliser against Leicester was absolutely amazing. Well done to them. Newcastle. Now, if you're a Newcastle fan, please let me know in the comments. Please let me know, because I'd like to know your opinion of how Newcastle were absolutely garbage sorry, please don't be offended when I say this, but Newcastle really were absolutely garbage at the beginning of the season. They get rid of their manager, they bring in a new manager, and he somehow turns it around. And don't get me wrong, we all know that Newcastle now have a pot of gold ready to spend money, but money isn't everything. They still have to get cohesion, they still need to be able to work together, learn how each other plays. Well, they keep winning. I'd like your opinion. Please, if you are a Newcastle fan, please, in the comments, tell me, let me know, how is it that Newcastle have turned it around? What do you think it is that they've done that now they are a difficult team to beat? And obviously, they played Crystal Palace at home and they beat them 1-0, which was pretty impressive. And the last game, which was on Thursday nights, this is the 20th of April, just a quick recap, was Man City. Now, they played Brighton. They won 3-0. Cemented themselves very much back top of the Prem, top of the tree. Very, very good result for them. And pretty much this is it now. This is the race to the end of the season. If Man City win all their games, they win the league. If they drop points and Liverpool win all their games, Liverpool win the league. It is really, really exciting. And I'm looking forward to seeing just who blinks first. Which team is going to be the team that will choke first? Because whoever it is, the other team will no doubt take full advantage. So those were the games that were happened on Wednesday night. Now, honestly, I really was hoping that we were able to have a live debate and discussion, because obviously my father-in-law and my brother-in-law, and unfortunately my wife as well, are all very, very loyal Chelsea fans. And alas, they were beaten by Arsenal, by the mighty Arsenal. The Gunners, they went to Stamford Bridge and they got the points, which was absolutely fantastic. Yes, they're not, unfortunately, I'm not able to gloat. I've not been able to gloat electronically, that is. I have gloated otherwise, but for us to have a discussion and talk about it and actually recap on what's happened, unfortunately, it's just going to be me. So if you don't mind listening to my dulcet tones, then please hang out with me for this very, very different show, because usually it's a live. But yes, because of some issues, we haven't been able to go live today. But still, this is a pre-recording, so I will still have this uploaded onto my channel, or mine and Chris's channel. But we won't be able to have any people coming in. But I will be in the chat. So if you are around and you still want to hang out with me, I will be in the chat, talking away and discussing and debating whatever you'd like to talk about. But yes, we can't have everything all the time, unfortunately. But the fact that Chelsea were put to the sword did bring a great smile to my face. So anyway, we're moving on to Thursday. Now, earlier on, we talked about Everton getting a equalising goal at home to Leicester. Important goal, because the following day, Burnley had to play Southampton at home. That was a must-win game. Burnley are not in a position where they can lose any games, and they'll probably be waving Everton, and Everton will be waving at them as they start next season in the Championship. Obviously, Burnley have sacked their manager, and he was a good manager, really good. But sometimes, if you see the writing on the wall and maybe you need a change, who knows? I don't know. I always think that he did such a good job at Burnley that even if they'd gone down, the likelihood is that he'd get them back up again. But they've parted company, and Burnley have pretty much have FA Cup final games. And it's either going to be them or Everton that get the drop. But on Thursday night, they helped themselves by beating Southampton 2-0. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens there, because as the season draws to an end, there is going to be someone's going to be disappointed. It will either be the Liverpudlians over in that support Everton, or it will be those at Burnley. So basically, keep an eye out on that. If you're a Burnley fan, do you think you're going to stay up? If you're an Everton fan, do you think you're going to stay up? Or if you're just a neutral, who do you think will be the teams going down? I would imagine we're not discussing Norwich or Watford. I think we know that they're pretty much already going to be playing in the Championship next year. But that last spot, will it be Everton or Burnley? Let me know in the comments. It'd be nice to have a discussion about that. Right, so then on Friday, there wasn't any actual Premier League games. So we will move swiftly on. Swiftly on to Saturday, where the early morning game was Arsenal versus Manchester United. Now, yes, I know I'm an Arsenal fan, so I try to be as neutral as I can. Pretty impossible, but I try to be. And at the very beginning, remember I said that there were certain games that when you looked at the fixtures and you said to yourself that Arsenal are going to beat Southampton, they're going to beat Brighton, and we'll get those 6 points. But then we're definitely going to lose to Chelsea, and we're definitely going to lose to Manchester United. So amazingly, again, Arsenal pull out a result of all results, and they end up beating Saka and Xhaka, not a tongue twister, with Cristiano in reply. I would love to know, if you're a Manchester United fan, what is Fernandes going on? What's happening with him? Fernandes, when you bought him, was meant to be the next best thing. He was going to be that guy that was going to end up, controlling the midfield. He seems to be the shadow of his former self. So if you're a Manchester United fan, I'd love to know what your impressions were of the game. Did you think it was a good game? Did you think that it was, the score line was, deserved? I mean, what was your take on it? I thought that Arsenal played well, but then obviously I'm biased. I try to be neutral, but I am biased when it comes to Arsenal. I think Arsenal played really well in the game. And it seems that when we finally learned how to play without Partey and Tierney, it seems like those two, initially we were wondering, are we going to be able to play well with them, without them? Well, yeah, we've actually worked out how to do it, and actually it's quite exciting because we've got some really, really good players in the team that are all starting to gel and play well, even though we are, bare bones. There's not many, any more major injuries, and I think Arsenal will really, really struggle for the end of the season. But yes, if you are a United fan, I'd love to know what your impressions were of the game, because it was a good game of football. It was quite exciting. I don't know if maybe you have a different impression of of the game, but pretty much a penalty. But I'd just love to know what your take is with Fernandes, because I don't know. I just feel like he has really gone off the boil. And it just seems like there was a lot of promise for him, and it just hasn't happened. But yeah, again, let me know in the comment section. I'd love to know what your impression was or is of him and Manchester United as a rule. I also like to know what you think of the new appointment of your new manager, because I think that's going to be quite exciting times for, if you're a Manchester United fan, you've got a new manager in the wings about to take over. Do you think that he's going to be the guy that will get you back up to challenge for the Premier League? I'd love to know. Leicester played a 0-0 draw with Aston Villa, which obviously pretty much a Midlands mid-table game, but still, Leicester have got one eye now on the Europa Conference. So I know now that they're going to try to. I wonder if you're a Leicester fan, do you think that your team now may take their foot off the gas, maybe in the Premier League, to focus on getting to the final of the conference, because it's another bit of silverware for the club. And obviously, your squad isn't the biggest squad, so you may have to make sacrifices somewhere. Will it be the Premier League? If you're a Leicester fan, let me know. And then, obviously, Man City played Watford. Now we know Watford were down. It's horrible when you're a team that's relegated or about to be relegated. Isn't it horrible when you play a game and you're looking at it thinking, oh, we're not going to get anything from this? We might do, maybe, but the way in which Man City are playing and what's at stake, the fact that Jesus, who I've been told may be coming to Arsenal. Who knows? That'd be interesting. Scored 4 goals against Watford, and they have really stamped home um, their mark. They're not going to give up the Premier League without a fight. And it's so exciting for the neutral. Obviously, we've watched Man City and Liverpool play each other a few times. Liverpool are on top in terms of results, but the big one is they still have 1 point lead over Liverpool. So it'd be interesting to see if or where the potential banana skins are with in the running to the end of the season. And then Norwich, they played Newcastle. And again, remember I said to you, what's going on with Newcastle? How is it that Newcastle have just turned it around? Well, now they spank Norwich 3-0 away from home. Amazing. Absolutely amazing to think that I at the beginning of the season, I assumed that Newcastle would go down. I don't know, maybe you did as well. Maybe you thought Newcastle would be one of those teams. Well, they have really turned it around now and pretty much are safe. They're not going to get relegated. And I would imagine that with the new money coming into the club, there will be some big purchases next season to bolster the squad and turn Newcastle pretty much into a powerhouse. It's going to be exciting to see who they bring into the club, what big name players, what kind of quality they bring in. They don't want to bring in too much because it will disrupt the squad cohesion. But still, with the money that is behind them, I would imagine they will spend. But then, I don't know if it's common knowledge. I don't know if you know this, but there are other teams out there that have got lots of money, and they're not necessarily doing very well either. So I'd like to know your opinion. Do you think that money automatically brings you success? Now, I'd love to know your opinion on that because I think it's quite an interesting discussion. Does wealth, money, instantly bring success? Has it been proven to? Well, not overnight. It takes a few years. I mean, even when Chelsea, got big money owners, it still took them a few years, and they did buy a few players that maybe they're not so proud of now to get it right. Manchester City, another team, lots of money, took them a few years before they were able to win the Premier League, and they still can't win the Champions League, which is weird, isn't it? I always think to myself, how is it that City haven't won the Champions League yet? But yeah, I'd like your opinion. What do you think is required? What is the ingredients for a successful team, both domestically and obviously internationally, in terms of their, Champions League, Europa League, or conference? What is it that's required for to make a successful club? Let me know in the comment section. And if you're just joining us, please hit that thumbs up for me and subscribe to the channel, because we are small, but we are growing. We are ForMorSport. My name's Johnny. I'm usually on screen with my boy Chris, but it's going to be just me today, where we do a quick rundown of what's happened this week. Our shows go out 7 p.m. Wednesday and Sunday, and so unfortunately today we're a bit late, and I've already had people going, where are you, what's going on? But unfortunately we were not able to go live today, so this is a pre-recording. So but I'm in the chat, so if you are around and you want to talk, I'll be texting you and messaging back, because it'd be interesting to know what your thoughts are with the questions that I give out. And then Brentford. Now, Brentford have taken points from a lot of London clubs this season. In fact, they've been fantastic, haven't they? Brentford, obviously they beat Arsenal first game of the season, and they went really well. Then had a bit of a dip, and now they've just seemed to have picked themselves up. Ericsson in the middle of that midfield is, the whiz kid, the maestro. He is definitely pulling the strings and helping that squad go up to bigger and better things. They've got a lovely ground, a nice area. I mean, everything seems to be going in the right direction for Brentford. But they hosted Tottenham, and I watched that game, and I actually thought that Tottenham were very lucky they were very lucky that they didn't lose. I was hoping they would, because it would take a lot of pressure off of us. But they played Brentford, and it was a good game. I know Tottenham would have wanted the win. it would put a little bit of breathing space between them and us, but it hasn't worked out that way, thankfully. But a 0-0 draw puts Arsenal 2 points clear of them in the league, and it does look like if Arsenal continue in the vein and Tottenham continues in their vein of success, that the fourth spot could be decided in the North London derby. It's a hard one, isn't it? If you're an Arsenal fan, you know that if you want to get Champions League football for next season, you are going to need to go to your biggest rival, Tottenham, and you're going to need to win away from home. If you lose, they will throw the songs that they will sing. You know, obviously, we won the league at the Lane. We won the league, and we do sing, and we do remind them of that fact that we won the league at Hart Lane. So it's very noticeable that we did that. And yes, there was a few years ago where it got to this point where it could have been us or Tottenham, and amazingly, they all came down with food poisoning, and there was obviously a big conspiracy theory that it was certain Arsenal sympathizers poisoning the Tottenham team, so they all got ill and they were not able to qualify for Champions League. But I think this season it's going to be really exciting because I have absolutely no idea who is going to get there. But there's still a few more games before that. Arsenal have to play West Ham, and that's going to be a big game. The only thing, and I was looking at West Ham's fixtures, the only thing that to me stands out is that Arsenal will be playing West Ham in the sandwich between their Europa League semi-final. So I'm hoping that they'll rest players. Sounds bad that we're hoping that West Ham, a team that we would regularly beat, but are now a very, very strong side, hoping that they'll rest their players so that they'll give us a bye and we can get the points because we need them. But yeah, it was pretty much, it was tough on Tottenham that they couldn't get a result. They know they need the points, but just have to roll on to the next game. And then rolling on to today, Brighton, they drew 2-2 with Southampton. I did not expect that. I was actually thinking that Brighton would get the win, but they were 2-0 down, I believe. Southampton were 2-0 down, and they managed to claw back those 2 goals for a 2-2 draw. Burnley, who, as we know, can't lose any games, beat Wolves at home, which is amazing. So puts more pressure on Everton. Chelsea, wow, that was a difficult game. I watched that game. West Ham really, really gave it to them. And, near the end, obviously, they, got a man sent off. In fact, yeah, it was a man sent off. I don't think that, maybe I'm wrong. And obviously, as a Chelsea fan, you'll know more than I. Chelsea had lots of chances to score, lots of chances. And I actually thought that they were going to, score earlier on. I mean, there was a couple of shots where they should have gone. They didn't get through. The game did change with the red card, but I did always think that Chelsea would probably win the game. And West Ham will probably be disappointed that didn't get a draw out of it because I thought that they were good enough to get a 0-0 draw. But yeah, these things happen. So they get the win, which gives them breathing space. I mean, they did us a favour because it takes West Ham out of the mix. They get away. We were never, Arsenal were never going to catch Chelsea, so they're kind of like out of the way. And then we had the sorry, I got distracted. I got a text message. Yeah. So and then after that, we then had the Merseyside derby, which was absolutely amazing. The first half was so difficult. The very first half of that game, it was just so claustrophobic. There was no movement. Liverpool were trying their very best to, pass their way around, but Everton were doing really well, very defensive. They weren't able to sort of get out of their half, but they had, banks of 4 and you weren't getting past them. In the second half, it was more of the same, but the minute that the pace of the game changed. So, it was very controlled. Everton were controlling the first half, but in the second half, it was more of a free-for-all. There was lots of sprints, lots of runs, beating the offside trap, and it played into Liverpool's hands really, because once Liverpool knew it was more of an open game, then it would allow people like Salah to have the space to be able to move and get crosses in. And what's really interesting is Origi. I mean, if you're a Liverpool fan, right, do you think that if you're a Liverpool player, sorry, not a fan, if you're a Liverpool player and you want to play, you're good enough to, you're a good player, you want to play. There are strikers in front of you, but it's well known, it's well documented that you always score against a certain team. Don't you think it's a bit annoying when he actually does it? So Origi, who seems to be wheeled out in the weirdest moments, FA Cup semi-finals, and when all is lost, put out Origi, he'll get a goal, and he does. Well, they did it again against Everton, who he seems to always score against. It's really strange. I always find it. I wonder what it is. Now, obviously, I haven't played football for many years, but I wonder what it is when you just know I can score against this team. Like I feel confident enough that no matter what they do, I will get a chance, and I just know how to score against this team. Ronaldo knows how to score against Arsenal because he always does. Origi seems to know how to always score against Everton, and he does. And so they end up winning 2-0, which again puts pressure at the bottom of the table because this was a top versus bottom game. Everton, wanting to pull away from Burnley, are unable to because they lose the game. Burnley win. So the gap is closing. Obviously, there are some games in hand, so they need to win those games. Liverpool winning and beating Everton means that they keep up the pressure against City. And so it's so exciting. Like, if you love football as much as I do, you just can see that the Premier League has it's become almost like there's three races going on right now. There's the race for the win, who is going to be crowned champions. There is the race for the top four, who is going to get that fourth spot, and there is a race at the bottom, who is going to go down. Is it going to be Everton or is it going to be Burnley? Both teams who at the time have actually found a vein of form, because Burnley have done it. I know Everton, obviously, up until this game, had been playing quite well, and that never say die. I know Lampard has probably said to the guys, whatever you do, don't lose, which was probably the attitude they showed when they played Leicester. It was difficult in this game because when you're playing Liverpool don't allow you space. They are unforgiving, and they kill you before you get a chance. They just attack. But they're smart enough to know that, give it a bit of time, work the space, play yourself around them, you'll get a goal. They've got so many good quality players in that squad. And so the league as it stands, nothing's changed. Man City still top, Liverpool still second, Chelsea still third. But then Arsenal now are fourth. So there is a slight change. So I said no change. There is because obviously Tottenham were in the fourth spot. Is it going to be like that? The funny thing about it is it going to be like that in a week's time? I have absolutely no idea. But what I do know is that I would imagine now that if you're a Tottenham fan, you're looking at this and thinking, right, okay, I know the fixtures. The fixtures on paper for Arsenal look harder, but our fixtures look easier. Actually, we still got to win those games, and we still need to get points. We got to get Kane scoring again. We've got to get Son scoring again. We've got to get the Conte's got to do whatever it is that he can do to motivate or re-motivate the Tottenham players and get them going again. I mean, I hope he doesn't do it, but if you're a manager worth your weight, if you're a good manager, that's what you're going to do. And he must be thinking, I just need to get them over the line. So we're looking forward to that. This week, we have got some really cracking games. Man City, they'll be playing, in the Champions League. Man City will be playing Real Madrid on Tuesday night, and Liverpool will be playing Villarreal. I'm going to go with I'm actually going to go with Real Madrid winning that game, but then I'm always wrong. And I'm going to go with Liverpool. I actually think it's going to be a a Real Madrid. Well, see, this is the thing. I actually would like it to be a Real Madrid Liverpool final, but the problem being is that Real Madrid and Liverpool both have pedigree. I know in the last episode, pedigree was I was I said Arsenal had pedigree, and Roger reminded me that there is a dog food in the UK. Pedigree chum. Yes, we are dog food, but I actually think that it is going to be a Real Madrid. I'm going to put, see, this is the thing, when you put your name down, you say something and you're completely wrong. But I'm going to go with a Real Madrid Liverpool Champions League final. It'll probably be Villarreal, Man City now, but I'd like to know, who do you think is going to win ultimately the Champions League? I think Liverpool. I don't want them to. But then actually, I say I don't want them to. Actually, I haven't got an opinion on that. I don't mind if Liverpool win it. They win it. They are a very, very successful European team, and I wouldn't put it past them that I think they will win it. But then again, I actually think they could win the league as well. So I could be wrong on both. I hope that we will find out. Obviously, by the end of the season, we will know exactly who's won what. But I just don't want City to win it. I think City. I feel sorry for City, but you think all that money they spent and they can't win the Champions League. It reminds me of Paris Saint-Germain. They're the same sort of squad. Now, I don't know. It's a little bit off the track. I know we talk about all things football, and usually it's mostly the UK. But did you see that the Paris Saint-Germain team, they won their league over the last couple of days ago? A couple of days ago, they won the league, and 15 minutes before the game was ending, all the supporters left the ground. They left the ground and celebrated outside because they are so frustrated. Imagine that. I don't want to say they're ungrateful, but I think to myself, your team have won the league and you're annoyed at your players that you didn't win the Champions League. Or maybe it was the nature of how you lost. I don't know. But I just think to myself, like, you won the league. A whole season of hard football, home and away. And then on the day when you can celebrate with your players, you leave the ground and protest. I don't know. What's your take on that? What's your opinion? Obviously, I don't know a great deal about French politics, especially when it comes to the football. But I'd love to know your take on what's going on there, because I must admit, I was really surprised that that's what they did. Because would a UK team do that? Would they, if you're disappointed with the owners or you're disappointed with where you're going? But I don't know why they're disappointed. They have bought some of the best players out there to win things. But then maybe the question I asked earlier, where I said, what's the ingredients to a successful team? Paris Saint-Germain are successful. They've just won the league in France. They're a successful team. But getting them to the next level. Only a few years ago, during lockdown, obviously during the pandemic, Paris Saint-Germain got to the final, but they were beaten by Bayern. Bayern Munich are not a bad team. They were the best team in Europe that season. But I just find it interesting that they have actually, they were, I just think you should have been in the ground. You should have stayed inside the ground, celebrated your guys. And I think even the Paris Saint-Germain players didn't even do a walk around. At the end of the season, players, you get to see their, pretty wives, get to see their kids, and, they wave at the fans and we wave back at them and we say, thanks very much for a great season. See you next year. Enjoy your holidays. They didn't do that because there was no one to wave to, because all of the supporters had left the ground. Bizarre. Absolutely bizarre. Anyway, guys, this was never going to be a long show because it's only me. And our next live stream will be on the 1st of May, I believe. It will be Sunday, I think it's the 1st of May, 7 p.m. Depending on technical issues, we may or may not have a show on Wednesday, but maybe we'll just do a quick update like what we've done today. But I will make sure that we are, or myself or Chris are in the chat so that we can speak with you as well and keep the continuity going. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me. As I said, this is just a pre-recording. If you like what you hear, or if you're happy to join us, hit the thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, because yes, we are small, but we are growing. My name's Johnny. Take care, guys, and we will see you in the next show, hopefully alive. If not, it will be the broadcast. Take care. Have a great week ahead of you.